Black Magic Sorcerer here with another Black Magic video. Tonight we're going to be discussing clearing and consecrating the room, altar, stuff like that, by basically clearing the energy in the room with sound. And the best way to do this is with something like a chime. So before I start a ritual, it's always like... and I used to use the singing bowl, but now you can see that Baphomet Azazel has basically taken over the bowl. I refer to this statue as Azazel, and this is my Baphomet. So, anyway, I don't know why every time I go to talk, my voice is like, feels like it's being restricted. So that's what I do to cleanse the energy in the room that I'm doing magic in. I burn copal resin incense. I will sometimes use a regular stick incense, but I gotta say I absolutely despise strong, perfumey smells. I like stuff that's real clean smelling, or just sort of, ambiguous. So for me to burn incense, it has to be something I enjoy smelling. I can't just burn something because I have to burn it for the ritual. I've had to burn things like sulfur during a curse, where you basically have to put sulfur powder on your coal, and then you would use that smoke on a sigil that represents your enemy, and then that person will suffer greatly because you're basically putting a very foul scent into that person's energy sphere when you do that. So anyway, just a little tip du jour for any of you Satanists, demonolators, pagans, whatever you call yourselves. I don't feel like I fit into any particular category. One thing I don't consider myself is what you would call a traditional Satanist. I don't really feel like I worship Satan, but I think Satan is kind of a focal point, so to speak, but I wouldn't say that Satan is my master. And I don't think most Satanists feel that way, but some Satanists literally feel like they need to bow down and worship to get anything out of working with spirits. And, Satan, Shaitan, Azazel, Belial, Beelzebub, all of these spirits are wonderful, powerful, knowledgeable, and extremely frightening spirits to work with. But when you're protected by your own egregores, your own archangels, especially the ones you dedicate yourself to, like I have dedicated my right shoulder to Michael. He's at my right hand. Lucifer Drofakel's on the left shoulder because he's on the left hand. So my magic is very balanced. And the way that I see it is, it's God first, meaning you're the incarnation of God doing the ritual. So the spirits respond to you because when they see and hear you, they see light and they hear the voice of God. They don't see a human being or feel a human being as much as they feel this incredibly huge divine light that they feel they want to gravitate towards, listen to, and be obedient to. And the curiosity of the magician wanting to seek out these dark forces, that is the lure of the occult. So if you're just, I guess you could say fairy witch, or maybe you're really into Wicca or something that's a little more, I dare say, lighthearted, where you're anti-curses, you're anti-black magic, everything has to be on the white side. To me, you're just about the same as a Catholic or Christian in a lot of ways, because you're trying to apply morality to the chaos of magic. And magic isn't about morality. It's extremely subjective because it's all about your experience. So if you have three people that practice the same ritual and they get three different results, it's because that individual is an incarnation of God, and those rituals are going to manifest accordingly. So three magicians doing three totally different rituals for the same outcome will definitely, all three of them will get results. And it's not because they are full of darkness, or the opposite, full of light. It's just simply their will and what they're directing at that moment. So we can refer to ourselves as black magicians, but the reality is you can't be of the demonic. I think it's possible to get to a point where maybe you experience the demonic, but the nature of the reincarnated gods that we are basically just spin-off of the creator who set us here in the flesh to do these miracles. And anyone and everyone can do these miracles if they're willing to understand that God isn't an external force as much as it is an internal one for all living beings. So a lizard, in theory, is a incarnation of God. So everything that is living is connected to you as a reincarnated God. You're basically just God in a flesh form instead of being this plural existential being that doesn't have a solid body and it's everywhere and nowhere at the same time. We are here on this ball of dirt at this time and place, reincarnated in the flesh so we can do these miracles. It's not about bowing down and worshiping anything. It's about pulling these forces out of you and in front of you so that you have a better and deeper understanding of what's going on in the universe. Because these forces, even though we may call them by the Christian demon names, they're really just old god spirits for the most part that have been around way before Christianity, the Bible, any of that. They were part of creation. So is Mikael and those angels. A lot of those names are names that are attributed to other pagan gods, but that's a whole other video. So anyway, I just want to say, keep your art balanced. You should clean periodically. If you are feeling angry, frustrated, low energy, no motivation, that is a sign that you have too much negative polarity going on in your system. You need to go to a Reiki master or go to someone that knows what they're doing to get some help if you don't know how to do Reiki on yourself or haven't been initiated, because you do have to be initiated into Reiki to use it, I think, at least at first. So anyway, those are things that I think you can do to just purify your temple. Your temple can be your car, it can be your garage. It doesn't matter what or where your temple is. The temple actually exists in the magician's heart and mind astrally anyway. So I can travel to this room, which is a sacred, protected place in my universe. And in this room, I become more like a god, but not God and not the creator. It's an important distinction to make, because magic may seem illogical and crazy, and that the whole idea of even practicing it is absurd. But the one thing you have to consider is all religion is absurd because it's an assumption that these things are true. What the magician does is he practices his religious form, keeps record of it, and then proves to himself that his calls and his evocations and his curses and his wishes and his desires are manifest by his will alone and the will of the spirits under which he is devoted to, and they are devoted to him, because it is like having a family. These spirits have been with me for many years now, and I really feel like I've bonded to them. I think maybe at first they thought, oh great, here comes another punk that wants to, dabble in the black arts. But I was chosen pretty early, around 7 or 8. Had a visitor at night, and from the moment I saw this spirit in the flesh, this gargoyle-like demonic creature, and other manifestations too, but nothing like that, that really stuck with me throughout my whole life. And my interests and beliefs all are stemmed around, basically magic and the occult. So I just don't know what kind of category to put myself in when I'm so open to pretty much everything, but at the same time, I'm completely uninspired by almost everything. So, I read half of the books I have and I think shit is just the same thing over and over and over, repeated over and over by someone trying to reword it so they can make a buck off a book. And I really feel like at this point in time in history, we already have a lot of magicians who are publishing their own grimoires and the grimoires, I should say. So we have a lot. We have a lot if you're just into getting a book, doing the rituals, seeing if you get results. But the best ritual you can create is one of your own. And so I borrow, I adapt outside rituals. I would love to do more of them. I'm going to set up my garage as a dark temple that's just for doing really intense curses and black magic. So it's kind of a dark place out there. I don't really use it for anything. So, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this and burn incense, sing your prayers, do whatever you have to do to use the element of air in particular to cleanse. It's easy to get rid of and eliminate energy you don't want around you if you just simply walk around with your incense and say, if you're not here for this ritual to help, leave now. I command you to go by the power of yourself or Satan or Tetragrammaton or even Jesus Christ, if that's who's at the top of your pantheon. A lot of people forget that we have a lot of Christian magicians and people that practice magic too, who are not necessarily, what would you say, totally closed-minded to the idea of calling up spirits and working with them and trying to understand them. And a lot of Christians are very psychic because they are close to God. I just don't think that as a whole people really understand what God is. So it's simply by their Christian method and their intense faith that they bring about this, what would you call it? Spiritual phenomenon that they experience and is very real. And it's the same for a magician. I think a lot of religion, prayers, magic, things that we do to try to keep us sane in a world that we have no control over, we're willing to believe anything and we're willing to try almost anything to feel safe. And for me, the Christian flavor doesn't jive with me. I don't like it. I don't like the attitude of the people who want to go out and try to convert everyone. I think that when it comes to your relationship with God, it's between you and God, and that's it. So I keep it very simple. It's very simple. I'm a conservative person. I'm, for the most part, nonviolent, but someone hurts my loved ones or hurts myself or does something or takes something from me of great value or does something to fuck up my life, I will come for you. I will curse you. I'll curse you just for being a rude motherfucker. I'll fuck your shit up and give you something to think about just for you opening your big fat fucking mouth. How about that? So, anyway, I digress. Dark blessings, my friends. Clean those temples. Do it regularly. Invoke often.